They said the blood moon was a blessing. They said it was sacred. They said it was the night the moon goddess walked among wolves and carved new destinies into the sky. But for me, the blood moon was a warning. It had never risen this red before. Not in 100 years, not in any of the old tales whispered by firelight. Tonight, the sky bled. A crimson glow washed over the forest, turning every tree into a dark silhouette and every shadow into something alive. The wind carried an ancient hum, a rhythm that vibrated through bone and soul, as if the earth itself was preparing for something unimaginable. The whole pack gathered around the ritual stone, hundreds of wolves shifting between forms, eyes glowing in every shade of gold and silver. They stood in perfect circles, warriors, betas, omegas, healers, each waiting for the moment the blood moon would choose fates. Everyone knew the rules. The blood moon chooses who it wants. No alpha can fight it. No omega can refuse it. A mate chosen under this sky can never be broken. I had planned to stay hidden in the shadows. Just another nameless omega girl. A nobody, an invisible face in the crowd. No one was supposed to notice me. No one ever did. But the instant the moon reached its highest point, casting that haunting red light across the clearing, the air shifted. It wasn't just a breeze. It was a pull, a force, something ancient, and angry, and aware. My chest tightened, my skin prickled. My heartbeat faltered, then raced. The air around me shimmered like heat on stone. All at once, the blood-red light struck me. Not the pack, not the warriors, me. The ground trembled. Wolves around me gasped. Some stepped away, as if the moonlight itself had chosen to expose a secret. And that's when his head snapped toward me. Alpha Raiden, the most feared alpha in the kingdom, the one whose name silenced arguments, the one whose wolf was born under an omen of death, the one everyone obeyed, and everyone feared. His silver eyes locked on mine across the clearing, eyes glowing brighter than the blood moon itself. And in that single heartbeat, something broke loose inside him. A crack, a roar, a bond snapping into place with violent force. Before anyone could speak, before I could even run, he crossed the ritual circle in 3 impossible steps, eyes burning like molten silver, breath ragged, wolf howling inside him like a storm unleashed. The crowd tried to stop him. They couldn't. The elders called his name. He didn't hear them. The earth shook under his feet as he reached me, grabbed my waist with trembling hands, tilted my neck to the blood moon sky, and marked me. Not gently, not slowly, not with love, but with desperation, with fate, with a force older than prophecy and stronger than law. His teeth sank into my skin. Heat exploded down my spine. My vision blurred into red and white and gold. The pack roared in outrage. Some wolves shifted mid-shock. Others fell to their knees as the moonlight brightened as if blessing the unforgivable. My breath caught. My heart staggered. The mark burned, not like fire, but like destiny carving itself into my blood. And through the haze of pain and terror, I heard his whisper against my skin. Moon goddess, what have you done? When he pulled back, the world had changed. Wolves bowed without meaning to. The ritual stone split down the center. The blood moon pulsed like a living heart. The elders stared at me with horror. Because the moment Alpha Raiden marked me, a prophecy awakened. One the kingdom had buried for centuries. A prophecy that said, the girl chosen under the blood moon will either crown the Alpha King or destroy him. And I, the invisible Omega no one ever looked at twice, had just become the most dangerous person in the kingdom. He didn't choose me. He didn't want me. He didn't even know my name. But the blood moon did. And from that night on, nothing. Not the kingdom, not the Alpha, not even fate, would ever be the same again. The kingdom of Therion whispered one name as if it were a curse. Alpha Kaelion, the blood wolf Alpha. Children grew up fearing his shadow. Warriors lowered their heads when he passed. Even the elders spoke of him with trembling voices. He was not just an alpha. He was the alpha born under the cursed blood moon, a celestial omen that twisted his soul before he even learned to walk. From the moment he shifted at age 11, it was clear. His wolf was not normal, not tame, not earthly. It was older than magic, older than prophecy. A wolf with burning crimson fur, a wolf whose roar cracked stone, a wolf that obeyed nothing, not command, not reason, not mercy. The curse came with rules. Every blood moon, bind the alpha, chain him in sacred iron, pray he sleeps, pray he does not break free, because if he did, the kingdom would bleed. And every century, when the blood moon rose again, Kaelion's pack prepared for the nightmare. Iron chains, wards carved into stone, dozens of warriors stationed at the ritual circle. The entire land held its breath. But this year, this blood moon, something went wrong. The sky turned darker than it ever had before. The moon glowed deeper, redder, almost alive. And the moment its light hit Kaelion's skin, his chains shattered, not cracked, not strained, shattered like glass beneath a god's fist. His wolf erupted out of him, violent, ancient, unstoppable. Warriors ran, the earth trembled, trees bent. The air itself seemed to kneel. Kaelion's wolf paced across the ritual grounds, eyes blazing like molten silver and blood mixed together. He wasn't searching for prey. He was looking for something else, something the moon goddess had awakened. And then he smelled her, a scent that didn't belong in the sacred circle. Soft, warm, terrified. An omega, young, hidden, unmarked. Find her, or destroy everything. Kaelion's heart, the heart that never feared war, death, prophecy, or fate, stopped, because in that moment, in the glow of the blood-red sky, he saw her, the girl destiny had forbidden him to touch, the one who held the power to silence the beast inside him, or unleash it forever. And for the first time in his violent, cursed life, Kaelion felt fear, not fear of losing control. He had lived with that since childhood, but fear of what would happen if he claimed her. And even worse, fear of what would happen if he didn't. His wolf chose her in an instant. His soul recognized hers. His curse awakened, and nothing, not the elders, not the prophecy, not the kingdom, would ever be the same again. Her name was Lyra, the girl the kingdom forgot. The omega no one ever scented. The healer no one ever noticed. The whisper in the background of every pack gathering. The shadow that moved quietly through moonlit halls, with her head down and her heart hidden. But the truth the world didn't know was this. Lyra wasn't forgotten. She was hidden. Hidden by a mother who died protecting her. Hidden by a father who vanished into the mountains with secrets carved into his bones. Hidden by elders who feared what pulsed beneath her skin. A forbidden gift whispered only in ancient moonlit prophecies. Moonfire sight. The power to see destiny. To awaken ancient bonds. To either crown a king or burn a kingdom to dust. The council hunted girls like her. Girls who could see the truth behind bloodlines. Girls who could unravel a curse with a single breath. Girls who could stand next to the blood wolf alpha and survive him. So Lyra learned how to vanish in plain sight. She masked her scent with bitter herbs that stung her nose. She wrapped her wrists in cloth soaked with moonshadow oil. She trained herself not to react to alpha commands, not to flinch under dominance, not to reveal the fire that lived in her eyes when the moon rose high. She was determined to stay invisible, until the night of the blood moon. Lyra never meant to be near the ritual grounds. She knew what the blood moon did to wolves, what it did to him. Alpha Kaelion, the blood wolf, the cursed alpha, the monster who had to be chained every century, when the moon turned red, and the ancient wolf inside him awakened. She had heard stories of him since childhood, Stories whispered like nightmares. Stories mothers used to scare their rebellious pups. Stories that always began with, "When the blood wolf rises, no one is safe. So why? On the night she should have stayed hidden in the deepest part of the forest. Did fate drag her feet toward the ritual circle? Her chest tightened the closer she came. Her heart pounded as if someone else controlled it. Her breath formed silver mist even though the night was warm. Something ancient, something older than the curse itself, was pulling her forward. At first she fought it. Her legs trembled. Her palms burned. Her vision blurred with moonfire sparks. But by the time she reached the edge of the ritual circle, she knew. Her scent had changed. No longer muted. No longer hidden. No longer safe. A soft glow flickered across the hollow of her throat. Her omega mark, dormant since birth, shining for the first time in her life. Lyra's gasp tore from her throat. She pressed her hand against her glowing skin, trying to smother it, hide it, kill it. Anything but let it show. But the blood moon did not care about her fear. The moment its light touched her, her power erupted. Silver arcs of moonfire shot up her spine. Her vision split. She saw past, present, future all at once. She saw wolves bowing. She saw a throne dripping in shadow. And she saw a pair of glowing eyes turning toward her. His, Alpha Kaelion. His chains snapped like twigs. His wolf roared loud enough to shake the ground. Warriors ran. Elders shielded their faces. The sky cracked with red lightning. Lyra turned to flee, but she didn't make it 3 steps before she felt it. A scent ripping through the night, a dominance that swallowed the air. A wolf so powerful the earth itself trembled. He found her, because he had always been able to find her, even when she hid, even when she ran, even when she didn't know she existed. The blood wolf did not choose his mate with reason. He chose with fate, and fate had chosen her. Lyra stumbled as his massive wolf form crashed through the ritual circle. Silver eyes locked onto her like she was the only heartbeat in the world. No, please, she whispered, tears blurring her moonfire vision, but his wolf lowered his head, snarling at the warriors who tried to intervene, shielding her with his massive body, as though he had spent centuries waiting for this moment. Lyra's breath hitched. Her heartbeat synced with his. Painfully, violently, undeniably. She was the last person who wanted a mate. A mate meant discovery. A mate meant danger. A mate meant her power would burn the world open. But the blood moon cared nothing for want. His wolf closed the distance, pressed his forehead to her chest, and growled in a way that shook her soul. Destiny had found her, no matter how desperately she wished it hadn't. The ritual ground was supposed to be sacred, a place where wolves gathered beneath the blood moon only once every century, to honor the goddess, to renew their vows, to strengthen their packs. But this blood moon was different. It rose too red, too bright, too hungry. Even the oldest elders whispered that something felt wrong in the air, as if fate itself had teeth. The moment the moon reached its zenith, the first ripple of chaos struck. Wolves shifted without control, bones snapping into forms they didn't command. Magic cracked the sky like lightning. The wind howled as if mourning something not yet lost. And at the very edge of the ritual circle stood Lyra, the girl who was never meant to be there, hidden, terrified, trying to blend into the shadows like she always had. But the blood moon saw her, recognized her, called to her. Her scent changed, soft at first, then bursting open like a secret she could no longer keep. Her pulse thrummed with ancient power she had spent years suppressing. Her dormant omega mark flared hot against her neck, glowing like a brand begging to be seen. She pressed her palm against it, panicking. No, not now. Please, not now. But destiny never listened to begging. A roar tore across the ground, the kind that made even the most dominant alphas bow their heads. Kaelion, the blood wolf, unchained, uncontrolled, hunting. The crowd split as his massive wolf form stormed into the ritual circle, black fur dripping with moon energy, silver eyes burning with feral hunger, the ancient curse in his blood turning him into something older than legend. Wolves scattered, elders ran, the earth trembled beneath his paws, and then he stopped, frozen mid-stride, as if the world itself halted, because his eyes found her. Lyra, the girl who had spent her entire life making herself invisible, now shining under the blood moon like a beacon destiny carved for him alone. Everything about him shifted, the rage, the curse, the bloodlust. It all funneled into one terrifying instinct. Claim. "Move!" someone screamed. "Get her out of the circle!" But Lyra couldn't move. Her legs locked, her breath caught, her heart hammered so violently she thought it might shatter through her ribs. Kaelion's wolf lowered its head, muscles bunching, hunting, choosing, deciding. Then he lunged. Lyra screamed as she was slammed into the ground, pinned beneath a creature every warrior feared. His teeth grazed her neck, cold, sharp, inevitable. "No, please, I'm not." Her plea was swallowed by destiny. Kaelion bit down, not gently, not with tenderness, but with a savage primal force meant for a mate he had never believed existed. Pain exploded, then light, then fire, moonfire. It erupted from her skin, glowing like molten stars, forming spirals around them both. The crowd gasped as ancient magic wrapped them in a halo of burning silver. Kaelion roared, jerking back, not because the mark hurt, but because for the first time in his cursed life, the pain stopped. His curse recoiled like a beast struck down. His wolf bowed, submitting to her. Wolves dropped to their knees. Elders covered their faces. The earth vibrated with recognition, and the blood moon whispered through the wind, through the trees, through every heart present. The queen has been chosen. Kaelion shifted violently back into his human form. Blood on his mouth, shock in his eyes, a tremor in his hands as he stared at her. At the girl fate forced upon him. At the mate who shouldn't exist. "No," he choked out, voice raw and trembling. "This can't be. She can't be." But Lyra was already collapsing, her vision dimming, the bond sealing itself with a violent, permanent snap that echoed through both their souls. Kaelion caught her before she hit the ground, for the first time in his life. The mighty blood wolf alpha looked terrified. The moment Kaelion's teeth left her skin, the world changed. Not for her, not at first, but for him. The blood wolf alpha, the creature feared by kings, the monster whispered about in ancient prophecies, the beast who had never bowed to anyone, staggered, actually staggered, like the ground beneath him had been ripped away. His beta shouted his name. Warriors rushed forward. Chaos still roared around the ritual grounds, wolves losing control, magic tearing the air apart. But Kaelion heard none of it. All he heard was her heartbeat. Lyra's, slow, unsteady, fading, and something unseen snapped tight between them, a bond thread glowing like molten gold, wrapping around his ribs, squeezing, pulling. Kaelion gasped, the pack froze, the blood wolf alpha, gasping, impossible, but every time Lyra's chest rose, his muscles loosened. Every time she exhaled, his pulse steadied, and when she whimpered, soft, terrified, barely conscious. Kaelion dropped to one knee. His wolf howled inside him, a desperate, choking sound. The bond wasn't just forged, it was controlling him. Lyra's fingers twitched weakly against the dirt. Her breathing hitched, fear rolled off her like smoke. Kaelion doubled over, a titan brought to his knees by a girl who could barely stand. His beta whispered, horrified, "Alpha, she's controlling your wolf." And the murmurs began. "She is his curse. She will kill him." She is the Blood Queen. No Omega should have this power. But they didn't understand. It wasn't that Lyra wanted control. She didn't even know she had it. Her power, Moonfire Sight, was waking piece by piece. The mark had unlocked it violently, brutally, and now her emotions were rewriting Kaelion's strength. When she panicked, his muscles seized. When she cried, his heart cracked. When she tried to crawl away from him out of fear, he collapsed completely, the bond ripping at his lungs. He hit the ground with a snarl of pain as she backed away, trembling. "Don't," he choked out. "Don't run from me. It hurts." Her eyes widened in horror. She had never wanted a mate, never wanted destiny, never wanted an alpha chained to her heartbeat. But destiny did not ask. The blood moon's claiming had bound them in a way no ritual had ever done. Lyra pressed a hand to her neck, feeling the burning mark. "I don't want this," she whispered. The bond lashed through him like a whip. Kaelion roared, not in rage, but in agony, clutching his chest as the threads tightened. His voice broke, raw and ruined. "Please don't say that." No one had ever heard him say please in his life. No one had ever seen him bend. But now, the strongest alpha in the kingdom was tethered to a girl who didn't want him, didn't trust him, and didn't even know the true depth of her power. Lyra backed away again. Kaelion collapsed again. Something clicked in the pack's collective mind. Her distance weakens him. Her fear destroys him. Her emotions rule him. The whispers grew louder. She is his death. She will bring the kingdom down. The blood wolf has met his end. Kaelion, panting on the ground, lifted his eyes to Lyra. Eyes no longer glowing with feral red, but silver streaked with something far more dangerous. Vulnerability. He forced himself to stand, swaying like he'd been gutted. "Lyra," he rasped, "I don't want a mate. I never wanted one." Her breath caught. "But the bond chose you, and resisting it." His voice broke as another wave of pain ripped through him. "Is tearing me apart." She shook her head, tears spilling. "I didn't ask for this." The bond punched into his chest. Kaelion dropped to both knees. The blood moon's chosen alpha, powerless before her. And Lyra realized something horrifying. The more she fought the bond, the more it destroyed him. Kaelion tried to speak, but all he managed was a broken whisper. "Please don't walk away." Because every step she took, every breath she drew without him near, every fear she felt became a blade twisting inside him. The alpha feared by all was now ruled, completely, by the girl destiny dragged out of hiding, and the bond was only growing stronger, stronger than him, stronger than her, strong enough to rewrite the kingdom. But Lyra didn't know the darkest truth yet. The bond wasn't just linking them. It was reawakening the curse. That could turn Kaelion into a monster, if she didn't accept him. And she was still trying to run. The moment Kaelion's bite sealed into Lyra's skin, something ancient, something forbidden, awakened inside her. At first it was only heat, a soft flicker beneath her ribs, a spark that felt like fear dressed as light. But as the blood moon sank behind the mountains, that spark grew, viciously. Lyra tried to sit up in the healer's tent, gripping the sheets as a sharp pulse tore through her chest. Not pain, not fear. Something older, something alive. Her breathing hitched. The walls dimmed. Then, light, golden, burning, explosive. Her vision shattered like glass, and suddenly she was in two places at once. Her body lay trembling on the cot. But her mind was somewhere far older, somewhere sacred. A vast moonlit field stretched before her, glowing silver white. In the center stood a figure made of pure light, feminine and ancient. The moon goddess. Lyra's voice barely formed a whisper. What is this?" The goddess didn't speak. She showed. Images slammed through Lyra's mind like lightning. Kaelion as a child, chained during a blood moon, screaming as his curse shredded him from the inside. Kaelion's father falling dead at the council's feet, the seers whispering that the next blood wolf alpha would destroy the kingdom, prophecies written in blood. And finally, Lyra herself, a baby wrapped in moonfire, hidden away by a woman who sobbed as shadows hunted her. Lyra gasped, choking on air as the vision broke. No, that can't be me. Her hands shook as the truth formed like a blade at her throat. She was born for this. She was born for him. She was born for a destiny she never wanted. Another pulse of energy struck her. This time her body arched off the cot, and golden lines spiraled from her skin. The moonfire sight awakening fully. Kaelion burst through the tent flap at that exact moment, chest heaving, jaw tight with worry he refused to admit. His wolf had dragged him here without his permission. "What's happening to you?" he demanded, voice rough, scared, furious all at once. Lyra looked up at him and gasped. For the first time, she could see his wolf. Not just the man before her, but the ancient, raging spirit inside him, enormous, wounded, desperate. And beneath the brutality, something fragile. A heartbeat, a longing, a fear he didn't understand. Her breath trembled. I can see you." Kaelion stiffened. "See what?" "Everything," she whispered. "Your wolf, your pain, your curse, your past, all of it." His eyes widened, a flicker of panic breaking his mask. "That's impossible." But it wasn't, because Lyra lifted her hand, glowing with soft moon gold, and Kaelion's wolf went silent. Silent. The wolf that tore chains apart, the wolf that slaughtered assassins, the wolf that even Kaelion couldn't control. It bowed its head to her. Kaelion staggered back a step, gripping the tent post as if the earth had tilted. What did you do to me?" "I didn't do anything," Lyra whispered, still trembling. "My power just answers you." Another vision slammed into her skull, and she cried out. Kaelion lunged forward, catching her before she fell. Her fingers clutched his shirt. Her voice shook. "I saw your curse," she breathed. "I saw the spell they used on your bloodline. I saw how to break it." His heartbeat thundered against her palm. "You can break my curse?" "No," Lyra whispered. "I can shatter it." Kaelion's breath stopped. But before either could speak, the tent torches flickered violently, and a gust of cold magic slithered through the air. Lyra shivered as a prophecy whispered through her mind. The blood wolf can only be saved by the one who sees his soul, and destroyed by the one who fears it. Fear tightened her chest, because she knew which one she was becoming. Her voice barely made a sound. "I'm supposed to save you or kill you." Kaelion looked at her like she had carved open his ribs. "I won't let destiny take you from me," he said, voice low and breaking at the edges. "I won't let them use this bond to destroy either of us." But Lyra saw the truth in the glowing veins of magic around him. He wasn't afraid of destiny. He was afraid of losing her. And the bond pulsed between them. Deep, ancient, unstoppable. Lyra's new power surged again and she cried out. Kaelion grabbed her hand. "Stay with me." His voice softened, something no one in the kingdom had ever heard from the Bloodwolf Alpha. She met his eyes. "I don't know how to control this," she whispered. His grip tightened. "Then we learn together." But fate was already moving. Hunters approached. Rival packs stirred. The council whispered of prophecy. And Lyra's newfound power, the one meant to change the kingdom, began burning brighter than the blood moon itself. She was no longer the hidden Omega. She was the Moonfire Queen. And the entire kingdom would come for her. The kingdom had whispered about him for years, but no one dared to speak his name aloud. The Bloodseer, the one born without a wolf. the one who traded his soul for forbidden magic, the one who marked Kaelion's bloodline with a curse the night he was born. He had disappeared for decades, until Lyra's mark awakened, the moment Kaelion claimed her under the blood moon. A crack split through the seer's ancient mirror. Blood spilled from his palms. His eyes burned red. He whispered into the shadows. So, the Moonfire girl lives. And the shadows moved. He wants Lyra, not alive, not dead, but broken. The Bloodseer knows what no one else does. Lyra isn't just an Omega. She is the Moonfire bearer, the only one who can break Kaelion's curse, and the only one who can awaken the Blood Wolf's true power. If she completes the bond, Kaelion becomes unstoppable, a king chosen by the goddess herself, and the seer cannot allow that. So he unleashes hell. Shadow wolves appear first, creatures born from corrupted magic, wolves with hollow eyes and dripping fangs. They stalk the borders of Kaelion's lands. They hunt at night. They whisper Lyra's name like a curse. The pack grows restless. Mothers hide their pups. Warriors patrol in fear. Kaelion feels the threat immediately. His wolf snarling, pacing, demanding Lyra stay close. But Lyra's power is awakening too fast, too violently. And every vision she sees leaves her gasping. Her moonfire shows her a man in crimson robes, holding Kaelion as a newborn, uttering the curse that bound him to madness. Lyra screams when the vision hits. Kaelion nearly drops to his knees at her pain. He gathers her in his arms, his voice rough. Tell me what you saw. But she can't. Not yet. Because the truth will destroy him. The Bloodseer sends the second wave. Rogue alphas, men who lost their packs, men driven mad by power, men who would kill an Omega for a single coin. They strike the healer villages first, burning homes, dragging survivors, searching for one scent, Lyra's. Kaelion responds instantly, his army rides, his wolf raging, his fury shaking the forests. He kills without hesitation. He tears rogues apart with his bare hands. But Lyra sees the exhaustion behind his brutality. The bond drains him. Her emotions hit him like storms. Her fear weakens him. Her stress shatters him. And the seer watches from afar, smiling, because he knows. A king who loves is a king who breaks. Then comes the final attack. Blood magic assassins, men whose veins glow red. Men who do not feel pain, men bound to the seer by ancient rituals. They infiltrate the palace at night, silent, relentless, merciless. Lyra feels them before they enter her room, her moonfire sight ripping open with a violent burst. She screams. Kaelion teleports through the hall, his wolf fully unleashed. He stands over her as assassins burst through the walls. His voice drops, deep, ancient, monstrous. You will not touch what is mine. The fight is brutal. Magic against claw, shadow against moonlight. Lyra tries to help, her moonfire flaring in her hands. But the energy burns her skin. Kaelion sees her cry out, and something inside him snaps. He kills the last assassin with a roar that shakes the palace. But when it's over, Lyra collapses in his arms, trembling. Kaelion clutches her face. They're hunting you. Because of me. She shakes her head weakly. No, Kaelion. They're hunting me. Because of what I can become. And in the shadows outside the palace, the Bloodseer whispers the prophecy again. If she lives, the kingdom falls. If she dies, the Alpha dies with her. His blood-red eyes gleam. Either way, the throne will be mine. And for the first time since the blood moon, Lyra realizes something terrifying. It isn't just the kingdom in danger, it's Kaelion's soul. The night Lyra disappeared, the entire kingdom felt it. Not through words, not through whispers, but through the sound of a howl so powerful, so broken, so unmistakably alpha, that even the mountains trembled beneath it. Kaelion's wolf, The same wolf that had never bowed, never hesitated, never feared a single creature, collapsed inside him. He felt the bond snap with terror. Not break, just stretch painfully, like someone had wrapped burning chains around his heart and begun dragging it across the earth. His vision darkened. His breath vanished. Every instinct screamed, "She's gone. Find her." And so he did. Not as a king. Not as an alpha. Not as the feared blood wolf everyone bowed to, but as a creature who had just lost the only thing keeping him sane. His wolf erupts uncontrollably. Kaelion didn't shift. He exploded into his wolf. Trees shattered under his claws. Stone cracked beneath his paws. The earth opened, scorched by the rage of a cursed alpha suddenly unchained. Every step he took burned the ground. His howl split the clouds. The blood moon, still weeks away, rose in the sky without warning, drawn by his agony. The pack had never seen anything like it. Some fled. Some knelt, some prayed, but none dared stop him, because they all knew the truth now. If the Omega dies, the blood wolf dies with her. He finds the trail, blood, fear, and moonfire. Lyra's scent was faint, weak, laced with pain, and layered beneath it, blood magic, shadow dust, the signature of the blood seer. Kaelion's wolf nearly tore itself apart in fury. Branches whipped past him as he ran. Mountains blurred. Rivers parted as he leapt across them. Lyra, Lyra, Lyra. Then finally, the fortress appeared. A dark tower carved into the cliffs, glowing with cursed runes. A place built to break Omegas. A place built to break him. Inside the fortress, her suffering echoes through the walls. She wasn't dead. That was the only reason Kaelion didn't burn the entire kingdom to ash. But she was close. Too close. Her heartbeat trembled through the bond. Soft. Faint. Like the wings of a dying moth. He followed it down a hall lined with skulls, herbs, and the scent of ancient magic. Then he saw her. Lyra. Chained by silver, bleeding moonfire. Her wrists were bound above her. Silver chains carved into her skin. Her moonfire sight flickered weakly, barely glowing in the dim light. Her legs shook with exhaustion. Her breath rasped. And from the wounds on her back, glowing strands of moonfire dripped onto the floor like falling stars. She looked broken, bruised, fading, but she was still alive. And when Kaelion entered the room, her eyes rose weakly, her lips parted, and she whispered, "Kaelion." That was all it took. The blood wolf shattered. The alpha feared by all, breaks for one girl. His wolf vanished. His power collapsed. He shifted back. Not with pride, not with dominance, but with pure, soul-deep fear. He fell to his knees before her, hands shaking violently, breath trembling. Lyra. His voice cracked, something no one had ever heard before. "Don't leave me. Don't." His forehead pressed to her stomach. His hands clutched her legs desperately, like anchoring himself to her was the only thing keeping his wolf alive. She felt his tears hit her skin. Warm, heavy, full of agony. Kaelion, the blood wolf alpha, crying. "Without you." His voice broke completely. "My wolf dies. I die." And for the first time, Lyra saw him clearly. Not the monster they warned her about. Not the cursed alpha marked for destruction. Not the terror of the kingdom. But a man. Terrified of losing the only person fate had ever given him. Her. She lifted a trembling hand, cupping his cheek, her voice barely above a whisper. "You came for me." His breath hitched, his eyes closed. His wolf howled inside him. "I will always come for you." The bond pulsed, weak, fractured, dying, but alive. Because she was alive. And for Kaelion, that was enough to start a war. The ritual ground was shaking. The blood moon, the same cursed moon that had ruined Kaelion's entire life, hung unnaturally low in the sky, red, heavy, watching. Its light painted the stones in crimson, like the earth itself was bleeding. Lyra could barely stand. Her body trembled, her veins burning with moonfire that refused to settle. Every heartbeat felt like it echoed through the entire kingdom. But Kaelion was worse. He lay on the ground, barely breathing, his skin pale, his marks darkening. His wolf, the beast that had once terrified the world, was slipping away, thread by thread, breath by breath. He tried to reach her. His fingers twitched toward her hand. Lyra. His voice cracked like something breaking inside him. Please, don't let this be the end. And then the truth struck her like lightning. If she didn't complete the bond, Kaelion would die. But if she forced the bond and failed, they would both die. It wasn't just a choice. It was a sacrifice. She fell to her knees beside him, her hands shaking as she touched his jaw. His skin burned under her fingers, but not with life, with fading. His eyes fluttered open, silver dimming. Go, he whispered. Save yourself. Don't waste your fate on me. Her heart split, because for the first time she saw him not as the blood wolf, not as the alpha who claimed her by force, not as the prophecy's weapon, but as a man who had been cursed from birth, hunted, feared, denied love, denied peace, denied a future. And she realized something terrifying. He never asked for her power. He never asked for destiny. He never asked for a mate. He just wanted to survive long enough to feel freedom once. She cupped his face, tears falling onto his cheeks. I choose you, she whispered. Not because prophecy demands it, but because fate brought me to you for a reason. His eyes widened, the faintest spark of life flickering. Lyra, don't. But she already decided. She leaned forward, placed her forehead against his, and let the moonfire sight fully awaken. The ritual ignites. The ground split open. Bloodlight surged from the stones. Silver moons formed beneath them, spinning like ancient gears awakening after centuries of sleep. Wind roared. Magic screamed. Their wolves tore through them, not physically but spiritually, like two constellations colliding. Kaelion arched in agony. Lyra cried out as moonfire ripped through her spine. Their marks ignited. His glowing crimson, hers blazing gold, and a chain of pure energy connected them. The blood moon pulsed once, twice, then detonated the ritual. Their wolves appeared behind them, colossal spectral forms. Kaelion's blood wolf, massive, scarred, raging. Lyra's moonfire wolf, radiant, burning white gold. The two shapes circled each other, snarling, crackling, colliding. Magic burst from their clash, turning the ritual field into a swirling storm of red and gold. Lyra gasped as visions flooded her mind. Kaelion as a child, chained under his first blood moon. The curse carved into his soul. The seer's hand dripping with Kaelion's stolen power. The prophecy written in moonfire. And finally, herself, standing beside a throne bathed in silver light. Destiny was not a choice. It was a consequence. The bond seals. Their wolves lunged. The blood wolf and the moonfire wolf merged, dissolving into one blinding burst of celestial fire. Kaelion's scream shook the earth. Lyra's cry echoed through the sky, then silence. The wind stilled. The moon froze. The world held its breath. Kaelion collapsed. Lyra's heart stopped. She grabbed his face, shaking him. Kaelion, wake up, please! No answer. His chest didn't rise. His pulse didn't respond. Her tears hit his mark, golden drops steaming against crimson skin. Don't leave me, she whispered. You were never meant to die alone. You were never meant to die at all. She pressed her forehead to his. Come back to me. I didn't save you just to lose you. The blood moon pulsed one final time, and Kaelion gasped. A single, sharp, desperate breath. Like a man breaking free from drowning. His eyes shot open. no longer cursed silver, but glowing molten gold. The mark on his neck flared, twin to hers. He was reborn, cleansed, unshackled, alive. Lyra, he whispered, reaching for her as if she were the only reality left in his world. You saved me. She sobbed into his chest, his arms wrapping around her with a strength she'd never felt from him before. No anger, no hunger, no curse. Just him. Free. And hers. Silence falls over the ruined ritual grounds. The last echoes of the blood moon ritual fade into the wind, leaving only the sound of Kaelion's uneven breathing, and Lyra's trembling heartbeat answering it. The pack stands frozen. The council bows without meaning to. Even the ancient spirits in the trees seem to hold their breath, and then the alpha, the monster, the curse-born wolf, kneels. Not before a goddess, not before his ancestors, not before the throne he fought his whole life to claim, but before her, before the Omega he marked under a cursed sky, before the girl he once thought was a mistake, before the woman destiny carved from moonfire itself. Lyra. His voice cracks, not with weakness, but with truth. I took you as my mate the night the blood moon rose, but destiny made you my queen. Gasps ripple through the wolves. An alpha kneeling? Impossible. Unheard of. Unthinkable. Yet here he is, head bowed, silver eyes glowing with reverence. And Lyra, the girl who once hid her scent, the girl who once ran from every shadow, the girl who once feared her own power, now stands tall, crowned in the soft glow of moonfire. The moon itself bends its light toward her, because the throne never wanted a warrior, never wanted a king, never wanted a conqueror. It wanted her, the Moonfire Queen. Lyra lifts her hand. Moonfire threads spark to life, swirling around Kaelion, not binding him, not trapping him, but crowning him. The throne responds instantly, the carved obsidian shifting, glowing, awakening, accepting him, accepting them. Kaelion rises slowly, never breaking eye contact. Not once. Wolves bow. Elders kneel. Even the storm clouds roll back, revealing a sky cleared by magic older than the kingdom itself. It seems over. It seems peaceful. But fate has one last revelation. One no one expected. A pulse of light bursts from Lyra's mark, and the ground trembles. Kaelion spins toward her, protective, ready to destroy anything that dares to touch her again. But the power isn't an attack. It's a message, a prophecy, a warning. A symbol appears across the sky, the mark of the moonborn heir. The kingdom gasps, because the Moonfire Queen and the Bloodwolf King were never meant to just rule. They were meant to create the next ruler, the next prophecy, the next era. Kaelion looks at her, shocked, breathless, undone. Lyra looks back, eyes glowing with destiny, and the chapter closes not in silence, but in promise. A throne won, a bond unbreakable, a destiny just beginning. He took me as his mate the night the blood moon rose, but fate made me his destiny. If you loved this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. More romantic, dark fantasy wolf stories are already waiting for you on the channel. Don't miss what happens in the next tale. Destiny is just getting started.